when I first came back to America, it's like my social status dropped. We live in Michigan, where from the get-go, I was not sold on the American dream, and I do think that I'm doing my American dream, right?
That is wild. First of all, I didn't know, it's interesting because, for me, I always think of, I know, Africans tend to be, very spiritual, very religious, very, and all of that stuff. Family goes in the house there,
exactly,
they never
and
go.
The moment they go back, 1 week later, they're dead. It's like, it's like
that is wild.
Exactly. So it's like they work all their life, and
outside of certain types of religions, there's also these ancestral legends or folk tales or whatever they say, whether it's mermaid or this or that.
The assessment center, I was the only black kid that was not in one of the top 10 university.
That's dope.
You know what I'm saying? Then I called my dad and I was like, wow, I don't think I'm gonna get this job. And he was like, boy, you better go and get this job.
Yeah.
And I got the job.
Aware.
Unveiled.
Unveiled, exactly.
Welcome to Unveil.
Yeah, more.
Music. So much evil in this world, I sit back like, why bother? But get a different view every time that I call dollar. It's like Numi got the Uzi, man, she always spitting facts. She be dropping bombs, make all of them double back. And then the crime raises. It's something that they never gonna get that. But it's cool, let's sit back and chit-chat, unveiled mindset.
You gotta be stoic, you can't be frail. If you get on the track, you can't derail. If you stick around long enough,
you will surely be unveiled.
What's poppin', everybody? Welcome to another Unveiled Mindset episode hosted by me, Dauda Conde, my lovely wife, Mr. KABA.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Unveiled Mindset podcast, where we have enlightening and purpose-filled conversations that help to nurture growth and unveil the mind. Make sure you guys subscribe down below to all of the links down there. Make sure you guys comment your thoughts on this discussion. Let's make this a two-way conversation. And yeah, without further ado, let's
and
move
don't forget
forward.
to subscribe too.
Yep, exactly. Make sure you subscribe and make sure you also check out the audio. If you don't have time to go on YouTube and you don't have YouTube Premium and it keeps stopping every time you get off the app, check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, everywhere where you listen to your audio podcasts. We are there. Unveiled Mindset.
Yes, sir.
So today we have an amazing guest who is actually my cousin-in-law.
Yep.
So we are thrilled to introduce an international sales manager with a wealth of experience in negotiating and managing global contracts with a focus in the mining industry. With over 5 years of experience, he has made his mark across Europe, Africa, North and South America, as well as Asia. Beyond his professional accomplishments, he's an avid world traveler, having visited over 64 countries, gaining invaluable cultural insights along the way. Join me in welcoming my cousin-in-law, Isaac KABA.
What's poppin'? Let's clap it up.
Hello, everybody.
Woo woo!
Well,
64 countries.
That's crazy.
Yes, ma'am.
Wow.
Yes. Wow.
And it's not just the 64 countries and then he just takes his regular photos. He immerses himself in the cultures.
That's a lot of countries.
He immerses himself.
You have to.
Yeah.
I think so. Yes.
So what makes you a traveler? What makes you want to go out and go around to different countries and just visit?
Well, I think first of all, this is a great question. I think what makes me a traveler is the world is so big, and I think there's so much to see. And I started my travel when I was younger, right? I was educated with my uncle back home and his family, so I used to travel a lot. So I was always curious about it. And when I grew up, and I was like, okay, I want to do this, and I want to experience different culture. I want to get off my comfort zone, get off my bubble, to see something else. So this was really the push for me to, not be stuck in just one mentality, not see the same stuff all the time, and just be it's a global world, right? So just be part of it. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great answer. So would you what would you tell other people that haven't been around the world, or at least are not looking forward to travel? Like, what would be your advice to them? Should they go out and see the world, or should they
Yes.
just stay in their bubble?
Nah, just go, you know, because when you are in your bubble, you just that's all you know, right?
Yeah.
You're so used to that and used to the people around you. Just go experience the world, right? Because a lot of time we have a lot of prejudgment, and we see stuff, we see other people and we are scared of them because we don't know the culture, we don't know what they've been through, and we don't know nothing about their life. And when you start traveling, we start meeting people, and you start understanding that the world is bigger than America or whatever you live. You start to be more
Aware.
aware.
Unveiled.
Unveiled, exactly.
Welcome to Unveil.
Yeah, more unveiled. And yeah, so just go, stop making excuses.
Yeah.
Travel can be expensive,
Yeah.
and it can be also very affordable. I started my travel like literally backpacking, right?
Yeah.
And all I needed was like a pillow and a bed.
Yeah.
I'll go to
Anywhere.
anywhere by myself.
Yeah.
A good cell phone network. Find a cheap hostels.
Yeah.
Meet local people, meet other traveler, and just explore the city or the country together. Just go.
Yeah.
Just do it.
Yeah. And I think something that he said there too is like just this idea of you might think something or another culture or another person is scarier in a way that they behave, or it's odd, or it seems like it's so far away from your own views and beliefs. But then when you're traveling or when you're talking, communicating, interacting with these people and learning about their perspective, you're realizing that, hey, this person may not even be that much different than me.
Yeah.
Like, you're bridging that gap.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
And this is like so true. Originally I'm from Mali and also Guinea, of course, but I went to Iceland, right? And Iceland is like a beautiful country to see like the northern lights, so it was beautiful. I went to Iceland, and I did like a tour of the capital city, and the local guide was telling us this story. In Africa, Africa is big. In Mali, Western Africa, you have this this urban legend with those little those little guys, I forgot their name, like the
leprechaun.
exactly, the leprechaun, right? So the same stories that we have about the leprechaun in Mali, right? They have the same exact story in Iceland.
That's crazy.
And Ireland, right? Because aren't leprechauns, don't they say like...
Yeah, I've never been there, but Iceland, I was really, really, really shocked about it. Like the same stories that my grandma and my aunties were telling me, they were telling me the same stories. Like for example, like Mali, and Iceland and the Nordic countries in Europe are Vikings. Right, and there's a lot of similar things with Mandingos, right? So this goes to show that I would have never known, like if I've never traveled to this country and say, wow, like we are, we may not be the same color, don't share the same religion, neither the food or anything. We have so many differences, but we are very similar.
That is wild. First of all, I didn't know, like, it's interesting because, like, for me, I always think of, I know, like, Africans tend to be, like, very spiritual, very religious, very, and all of that stuff. And, like, also, but, like, outside of, like, certain types of religions, there's also, like, these, ancestral, like legends or folk tales or whatever they say, like whether it's mermaid or this or that, like you think it's more so like child tale things, stories from when you were younger, but I didn't realize that outside of like mermaids, I didn't realize that like in non African continent, like in some of these other like whether it's European or whatever places, that they also would have some of these more superstitious behaviors.
Yeah, definitely.
That's
Because
interesting to me.
like as you were saying, like okay, of course now, most of the world is like monotheist religion.
Yes.
But back in the day, like everybody used to be like believe in lots of gods, and you see that's why you see a lot of similar between like the Vikings that used to be like a warrior, a clan, and the Mandingos in the West Africa.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
that's super fascinating.
Yeah, but just to go around to say again that travel to me is important.
Yeah.
Is a school of life.
Yep.
You get to really relate to people, to really understand other culture. You have less judgment.
Yes,
And
you have less judgment because
less
you understand
judgment.
more.
You understand. You understand more, and
Yeah.
like. Man, you're just beautiful. Like every time I leave, I mean, you guys know me pretty well. I'm always in a plane, I don't like being comfortable, because to me, to get comfortable, you need to get uncomfortable. This is like my favorite saying. I want to attain, a certain amount of success. And for me to be comfortable with that success, I need to be uncomfortable now. Right. So to get comfortable, you need to get uncomfortable.
Yep.
Right. So this is the time, to grind, to travel, as you guys are married, I am as well, inshallah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Inshallah, maybe soon kids and stuff. So, the more you grow, the more, you have responsibilities, and it can be harder for you, to travel and stuff. Yeah.
And the time is now, to your point. Like, this is the youngest that we'll ever be.
Exactly.
Today is the youngest we'll ever be. So,
I'm getting younger.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I think that's definitely valid, and that's a great point, because when life happens, responsibilities happens, and it may be harder to go to these different places.
Definitely.
But it's important to what you're saying, like, because some people, they like to travel just to go and have fun and enjoy, but not also explore, not also they take from, but like or like they kind of just take the fun piece of it, but they don't also try to like understand the locals. Like they'll just go and solely, okay, I just want to be in this water, I just want to do this. I don't care about these people, I don't want to know about these people, I don't want to eat their food. Like,
So okay, so he said something that was very interesting. Making a comparison between the relation between a story in Iceland with the leprechaun compared to like that, of a home in Mali, right?
Yeah.
So my thing is, so like when you travel, obviously like you're also traveling to have fun, right?
Yeah.
So is it for you to get like the educational purpose? Is that like a main goal of yours? So whenever you travel, you try to get some type of knowledge from that particular country, to take that with
that
you.
culture.
So to just go back to what you were saying, as well, is that to me there's a big difference between traveling, vacation, and exploring. Because back in the day, when I really started like traveling, in the sense was really exploring. Right, I was a broke college student, studying abroad in Europe, and backpacking, taking the bus for 16, sometimes 24 hours to go to another country. And my goal was to really immerse myself in the culture, right? Really, because I love history. I mean, David knows, is like, I really love reading. I like documentaries. I love history. I love other countries. So I want to be there, right? For example, Rome. You go, you see the Colosseum in Rome. I know what happened in the Colosseum because I studied in the history books. So I want, I want to get the feel. I want to see it. I want to touch it, right? And some people that go just for vacation, you go to Turks and Caicos. You're not really going for the culture, right? You're trying to have fun. Go to Noah's Ark because Drake's been there, and to me this is fine, there's no problem, but this is not really me. It is me sometimes, where I just want to chill, right? But me most of the time is explore, right? Because when I go to Mexico, I don't only go to Cancun, right? I will go to Mexico cities. I will go to small other places that's not very touristy, where I get the feel, right? This is really what I do. Now with work is different, now I'm not exploring, I'm traveling for business, right? So what I do is like when I go to, for example, South Africa, I was telling you earlier, like I've been to South Africa as a, a tourist, and then as a professional, and my experience is totally different, right? Because as a business man, or as an employee of a huge corporation, is what I do is a lot of negotiation, a lot of meetings, so you don't really get the sense of the country. Yeah.
So I like that approach. So I kind of want to like sway into a different topic.
Yes.
But eventually we'll come together. So like to me, like obviously we know each other, right? And sometimes we don't sit back and reflect, because our first episode was like reflection.
Yeah.
So like reflection is a big thing, right? So to me, like what from hearing and what I also know, the thing that clicked in my head is like you have this unorthodox approach to things, right? Especially traveling, even with your job, even the way you look at things, right? Perspective is a big thing, right? Obviously, we can be in the same area but have different perception based on who you link with and who you talk to. So to me, the unorthodox approach here is like you traveling 64 country eventually landed you or molded your mind to wanting to work outside of the United States. So maybe your interests also motivated you to get a job overseas, right?
Definitely.
So now my question here is, so like based on your environment, right? Because we kind of grew up in the same environment, kind of different, but
yeah.
Right. So what made you, because you eventually left Africa and came over here, right? And did you know right away that you didn't want to like stay here from the beginning?
Yeah.
Or was it that something eventually happened here, or maybe you traveled somewhere that changed your mind?
Yeah.
Right. So is it from the inception, or was it something that happened here in school, or somebody you met, or when you first traveled, that made you think that we want to travel the world or work overseas?
Definitely. So first of all, like I told you, you definitely know my life story. I grew up in, Mali, and really, really good, backgrounds and whatever, we're not gonna get too deep into that. But I was telling you, my uncle, that really basically raised me, used to work for the UN, right? So he used to travel a lot. So that was my first introduction, right? So he used to take us to his local travel and sometimes even internationally. So that was really my first, introduction to, traveling and seeing the world and seeing, other places that's not my environment. And coming back to your question, when I first came back to America, it's like my social status dropped, So I went from kids that goes to like the best private school in the country, going, to school with the kids of diplomat, minister, whatever. Then you come here and your parents are working class, So my social status completely dropped, So you see that for me to go to a good school, our parents have to move to a new apartment and whatever. So from the get-go, I was not sold on the American dream, and I do think that I'm doing my American dream, right? But from the get-go, it's like, to me, it's like, yo, this is what we see in Hollywood is not this, right? Because, we live in Michigan, where, I always had like this anxiety where I have to watch my back, So it's like, the freedom that I had back in Africa, I didn't have that freedom to just walk and not worry free. And that was something that was easy for me. And then I see the condition of our people, Africans that came and immigrate with no education, or the stories, and you see the condition that are like minimal jobs, and and I didn't want to be that, and I commend these people because they came from really hard background and they made it happen. But I wanted something better, and everybody that I talked to said, oh yeah, I will always go back home, I will always go back to Africa. They end up never ever going back, right? They build big house and like
their whole family goes in the house there,
exactly,
they never
and
go.
the moment they go back, 1 week later they're dead. You know, it's like, it's like
That is wild.
exactly. So it's like they work all their life, and to me, it's like, because before I came to America, I already traveled. I've been to Europe, I've been to Asia, I've been to other countries in Africa. So I've seen that America is great. Here, there's a lot of opportunities, but there's more.
Yeah.
Right? There's more. And this was my thing is. David knows that I studied abroad. I was always finding a way to go out, to do more, to explore. And then when I searched for my current job, I literally went on LinkedIn and I was looking for international positions, and international position, right after college is unheard of. It's very competitive, but I really fought for it. I really showed that I could do this, that, I have the competence and, the way to really do this. But yeah, coming back to your question, it was always important for me to work outside of the US. Also, I have this base for the US because, like, sometimes when I talk to some of my friends and they feel like, oh, you don't like America. I love America. I'm grateful to be American. Because first of all, when I travel, and the difference between when I said that I'm Malian and American is huge, right? People treat you aesthetically different, but there's more than America, right? And I think it's perfectly okay to say that. That doesn't make me anti-American or anti-patriotic. It's just that there's more, and it's a global world, right? Today, an American gets his money in Japan, a Japanese in Mexico, a Mexican in France. It's a global world. This is, it's not your nationality. It's not gonna impede you to to make your bread in another place.
Yeah.
Right. Globalization.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
So-
that's one of the things he said, like, it's a global world. We live in a global world. And even here in America, like, you're, on a day-to-day, you're interacting more and more and more with people from different backgrounds.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, even if those people grew up here, but, like, their parents came from very different backgrounds. And so I do, like, a lot of people, no one that I personally, in terms of friends wise, none of my friends that I personally know were like, okay, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna go and just like work somewhere internationally. Actually, one friend is international. She's in Ireland, but
he's the only one that I heard that ever utter those words, like working.
yeah, because like people usually like our parents did that though. Our parents were like, you know what, we're gonna be fearless and we're gonna move out and go.
Yeah.
Our aunts and uncles or whatever.
Exactly.
Even your dad traveled multiple countries, right?
Yes,
And
yeah.
worked in multiple countries. So did you guys have that in common?
Yeah, and so it's definitely fascinating to see, and like it opens up your mind of like it's okay, and it's not like a scary thing.
Yeah.
So
it does,
and you'll always see your family. You'll miss them.
No, for
Yeah,
sure.
of
But-
course. Yeah.
But it's good to experience other things, right?
Yeah.
And so now with that being said, because it's like you manifested your destiny, right? I know it was a long journey, but it's like you saw it through.
Yeah.
MDG always say, yo, Isaac is the one guy that say, yo, I'm gonna do A and Z, and I'm gonna land here. And he did A and Z and landed there, right? Now manifestation is very important because some people don't believe it, right? Sometimes you have to see it first, right, before anybody else, and then once you go and apply yourself and you get to that destination, and people are like, oh wow, he did it, but they don't understand the journey and how you have to think, right, to put yourself in a position to be locked in, right? And so now with that being said, like you also, because I know like overseas was something that you wanted to do, but eventually you also want to come back home, right, in Africa, to your homeland, and to do something for the country, right, or maybe live there, right?
Yeah.
So like, do you know? So Putin says something about Africa that was very profound, and I wanted to bring it up, right? It's like he said that African only return home to be buried. I don't know if you're familiar with that. I have the quote here. I don't want to misquote it, so I'm gonna read it word for word. He said, "When an African entrepreneur become rich, he will send his money and gold to Switzerland. He's going to France for medical treatment. The alleged quote reads that he invests in Germany and buy houses in Dubai. He considered Chinese product, praying in Rome or Mecca. Their children are studying in Europe or Canada, and they all take Western nationalities. They travel to Canada, USA, and all over Europe for tourism. If he dies, he will be buried in his home country that he did not care for." So meaning that we go outside and explore, like what you're saying. There's travel to explore.
Yeah.
I forgot the third one. We go out there and explore and get all this experience. And none of the knowledge or the resources that we gain come back home to teach, right? The youth or whatever to forward the country.
Yeah.
We only come back to take more people to send them out, and eventually we just end up with nothing, and then you just come back home old and you die and you get buried in your country. How do you feel about that? What is your approach based on that?
Something that you said, I'm gonna answer this question in different aspects. One word that you said that kind of bothers me a little bit is teach, you know, because I think a lot of us
bring the mic closer.
I think a lot of us we have kind of this white savior complex, but it's just that I call it diaspora savior complex. We think we are better than the locals, right? Is that I came to America, I work in the UK, I'm gonna go back home, you know, I'm gonna take them out of the poverty, you know. And you see, most of the people that have this picture is Africans that work at Starbucks. Sorry, guys, you know, but it's like you're not even doing shit for yourself in America, and you really think you're gonna go back home and take people out of poverty, right? It's not like people are not waiting back home for us to do shit. They already are doing it, you know. If you're really patriotic, you want to go back home, humble yourself, you know, join the people, right? Or do something on your own scale, you know, and start by bettering yourself and better the people next to you, and then if everybody do that, the countries can, you know, develop and evolve. So to me, first of all, we need to start with that, you know, that savior complex. We are not better than the local people, right? We think we are better educated because we are in the Western world. We don't know the reality that they are facing there. So your little diploma that I don't care which school you went to, I don't care if you went to Harvard, McGill, I do not give a single F. You're not a savior. You need to humble yourself. You need to get in line, and you need to have great idea. The second thing is the way we educate our kids here. What you were saying, like when the kids that grew up in the Western world, African kids, they are scared of Africa. The ones that never been back home, they're really scared because when you do bad, what do the parents say? Oh, be careful, I'm gonna send you back.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? So since
that's true,
a kid, you have a bad image of Africa.
It's a punishment.
It's a punishment. It's not look, or when you turn on the TV, 30 cents a day, you keep an African away or something like that. You know what I'm saying? So kids have a bad image of Africa. Because the parents are not doing a good job, you know, of selling the country. America is great because America is great at selling.
They sell themselves like
America's also
like you're sold.
America's also a great product, right?
Exactly.
It is also a great product too.
No, but let me tell you something. It is a great product. Even if it was a shitty product, America would always be good in the eyes of people. You know what?
Like,
exactly.
Everyone comes here.
Because it's not all about the
American dream.
America is the first military power, but the real power of America is soft power. Because when you watch Hollywood, think about it. The American is always the nice guy that come and save the day. You see the skyscrapers, you see Chicago, you see New York. This sells America. You want to be American. You are proud to. I talk the most shit about this country because when you love a country, you have to be the biggest critic. And I'm one of the biggest critics of America. But boy, do I love America. Oh my God, I love America.
I'm glad he said that.
You know?
Me and him used to have a back and forth. And then he was like, no, I don't think America is the greatest country. He was like, trust me. And then I think you went to study abroad in France, right? And the lifestyle was a little different. And then he said, "Yo, David, you were right. America is the greatest country." But go ahead.
I'm a biggest critic for America because she needs to do better. We need to do better, and I expect more of America because it is America. This is my thing, right? But with that saying is that the parents, the African parents. they were like, oh, my kids are like 20 now, 20 and some, and they don't want to go back home, they don't know the culture. You didn't teach them.
Yeah.
You make them scared of being
Going back to
African,
Africa.
right? And also the social pressure here, African Buddhist culture and whatever you didn't want to associate. But now, you wrote with Afrobeat, the Nigerians, shout out to the Nigerians, everything really changed. People are proud to be African, so there's that aspect as well. And the last point is, you want to go back home, just don't think that you go in there and change shit. Right, like I was saying, people are not waiting for you to trust me. Just people on the ground that were born there, that live there, that have expertise. You go there, you humble yourself. It's like a edifice, right? Everybody bringing brick by brick, and every country member can bring their contribution to the edifice, but with humbleness, respect of the local people that have been doing for years. Right? Nobody care about your freaking accent or your Yankee education or nothing. It doesn't matter. Respect yourself, respect the people, and help them, and they help you as well. Because you can teach them, they can teach you too. This is what basically I have to say over there.
So
and
go ahead.
so one thing that he said, and I think we had this conversation, I think it was with Gabine, about do we feel like, or is the obligation on us, or even our kids, right? Do we have this obligation of, we have to go back and we owe it to the country and to our parents sacrificing and things like that. We owe it to them to go back and even if it's not permanently go back, but go back and help, go back and do this, go back and do that, go back and create a business, go back and do a not-for-profit, go back something, right? And like, it's one thing to go back and like help by doing like organization and like what you said, like respecting the locals and realizing like, okay, I'm gonna come in, like I'm gonna do it. But I feel like a lot of times the mentality like is, to your point, we have to catch ourselves when we think about we're gonna go back and go save them. Like, oh yeah, our kids are, there's this obligation of going back and save them, because they're gonna look at us and be like, your parents, we haven't been there for however many years. You haven't been there for however many years. And now your kids or whatever, you feel like you can come back into this country and be like, here's what can solve all of you guys' corrupt issues.
Like,
or
I know
this
better
or that.
than you guys.
I know better than you because I'm Western.
Exactly.
And
so
like going again is, exactly the white savior, complex. You'll see a lot of, our white counterparts going to countries in Africa, to feed kids and stuff, but you won't see them in the Bronx. You want to see them in Detroit. It's just, okay, are you doing this for the common good, or are you doing for clicks? Are you doing them? So this is my thing. So you need really to check yourself. We need, I'm not excluding myself. We really need to, check ourselves before we go back home.
To do better. To interject, right? So, like, a lot of time we highlight some of these issues, right? But I don't think we like really touch on the basis of like what causes for someone or a parent to raise their kid like that. What trigger? What's going on inside of their mind, right? Because we can say, oh, I'm gonna send you to Africa because you're being bad. Why you think a mother or father is saying as a punishment? What change, or what? I don't want to say the lack of respect for the country, but is one product is being marketed very well, and also the same the product that they sell us, the product is actually good, right? So you're saying you have to like sell yourself, right? Let's say we sell our product, but I don't want to sell a product is not necessarily good, but it has work to do, right? So I'm looking at it. They're looking at two products that one is more like beneficial and more showing that this product actually do good. The other one is showing that we're just stuck in one position. Do you think that the reason why they use that as a punishment is some truth behind it, or is it just like I think less of my country now because I'm in a better situation, or what do you think the issue? What's the cause issue?
No, I don't think they are like saying this to to put their country like in a bad position, to say, oh, it's a bad country or anything like that. It's just a scare tactic. you know. But why is it a scare tactic? Because you got to think most of the immigrants that came here, you know, from our countries in Africa, come from very difficult backgrounds. Most of them didn't even come from the major cities, right? They come from small towns, small villages, and made themselves to Africa. So they really went through it, right? So when they see like kids not behaving or like a little bit spoiled, so this is like a scare tactic. Oh, you know, I will show you the real world because you're American kid, you're spoiled, you have everything and you're not performing. So if you don't behave, I'm gonna send you so you can see what I came from to give you what you have right now. You know, so this is it. So it's a scare tactic, but to me it's a wrong scare tactic because first of all, most of them don't send their kid back, and they grew up with this image of Africa. And you will say African kids will ask, "Oh yes, do you guys have houses in Africa?" Like, my nigga, I'm sorry to use this term, but I was living way better than you live in America. You know what I'm saying? But I don't blame them, you know, because the scare tactic was just for so many, you know, generations, you know, that is stuck. So even the African kids that were born here, before they go, and you know, like the first time they go to Africa, it's like, oh my God, it's nice. They always want to go back, right? You know, but
it's like a culture shock.
A culture shock, you know. They're like, oh, the people are nice, even though they don't have a lot of money. You can do this, you can do that. I have fun, I this, I that, you know. So the parents have to do a better job, and I think this starts with our generation, right? To not make our kids scared of, because you know there's a saying in Bambara that says that Bama be sanke meke jila, no yirikuru be sanke me jila, foga sa teke bamai. Basically, you can throw a piece of wood in the river or in water, and it will never become a crocodile. You know, so we are American, right? We love being American, but our origins will always stay. It will always stick, and you need to remember that. You need to remember your origins and where you are from, because it's very important. You know, because if you don't know where you are from, it's very difficult for you, you know, to move forward. Yeah.
No, I think that was well said. You know, like we always talk about, we like to be positive and we like to like talk about like unveil issues and topics, and like we like to be optimistic, right? Obviously, that crafted scenario, like your man would say, crafted scenario. Like I understand sometimes you only can do what you know, right? You have to do what you feel like is gonna work, right? So I kind of get it. But like you said, eventually they end up, you know, being exposed to the country and they end up liking it. So I guess down the line it's worth it, right? Maybe. It might not work. It? Like telling them, yo, if you don't do this, I'm gonna send you there, right? Because I'm saying like they're doing what they can to try to like keep their kids like in the right path, right?
Yeah, but I'm just saying there's another way to do that.
No,
right?
for sure.
Exactly.
I'm saying there is another way to do it, but I'm saying like, is if you only know what you know, right?
That's what I'm
so
saying.
It's like they don't. That's why I was talking about perception and perspective, right? It's like if, like you said, you talk about traveling. If somebody never see a different side of the world or culture, they only know one thing, right? So because of that reason, it's like they're stuck in that position. So that's all you know. So it's like if all I see is green and I nowhere in my head I know that red exists, and then you show me red, I'm like, wait, red exists, right? And that can, you know, that can change somebody's mind. So it's like they just know one thing. It's like a one-track mind. So I'm saying they're doing what they can. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. You know, I'm not gonna say everything. All the fact that they're saying don't go to Africa is always a miss. At time it works, at time it doesn't work. And because it also become like they become more appreciative when it's like later on down the like, wait, I was missing out on this the whole time. So they even become more involved. Right.
But I'm just saying, like, how many kids, you know, actually end up, because we got a lot of cousins, right? And you see like the ones that were scared, like some like they don't want nothing to do with Africa, and the ones that, you know, have like, you know, older cousins, and like now through our IG stories they see us going to back to Africa and say, whoa, it's lit, and now they want to go. But a lot of them, it's like, nah, bro. You know, they say there's no light there, there's mosquitoes, there's this, there's that, you know. So yeah, but I'm just saying, like, this is what I say. I think with our parents it's too late. It's up to our generation, you know. That's the next African born, second, third generation of new African that will be born in America and be American citizens, you know, to really have that connection with the homeland, right? Be proud to be American, contribute to this country, you know, because this country has given us a lot, right? Even though only for education, you know, this country has given a lot. So, you know, it's always do your best to give back to America, you know, but do not forget your homeland. You know, do not go there as a savior and a Mr. Know-how, you know, visit, get acquainted to the culture, get acquainted to the people. And if you feel like you can do something, you know, bring the bricks to the edifice, right? Do that, right? This is what I wanted to say.
And the one thing too, like, and I think that's what ultimately Isaac was saying in terms of it'll start with us, you know, going forward in the sense of being conscious of what saying, oh, I'll send you back to Africa, can do
For sure.
to someone, you know, psychologically. Like, the intention may not be, and I'm sure, like, I can easily say, oh, if you don't do this, I'll take you back to da-da-da. My intention may not be like, oh, I don't want them to psychologically now associate this thing with punishment, right? And I think now with the advancement of like therapy and like understanding like psychologically how people can be impacted by certain things, we now are able to understand like, ooh, associating this with this as a child whose mind is developing can lead to them thinking about it this way. So now, you know, with that knowledge, we're able to really understand that. And I agree with not using like, you know, Africa as a tool of punishment, because then it's almost associated consistently with the negative.
Definitely.
And I agree, like and I think the other thing, you know, they may have said it to both of you guys' point, because you guys don't know how easy you had it here, right? I'll send you back to Africa where you have to walk 20 miles to go to school. Like, you know, some the parents, they want to scare their kids and they might exaggerate. And it might just be like, oh, you don't know how good you had it. So, and the second thing that I just want to say is, with regards to the saving piece, the one thing though that I would know is because of the fact that we have had the opportunity to come out of the country and you know, whether it's Europe or here, etc., we've been able to gain this multicultural experience that I believe is like unique. And I do believe that when we do go back to, you know, whatever our country of origin is, it is important to, because even though it is important for sure to respect the locals and whatnot, however, I do think that like we can add in inputs, because it's hard for people to see certain things if that's all that they've seen.
Yeah, no, definitely.
But because we're also bringing in Western and different perspective, we've seen like an experience when it comes to culture. Here are some things that work, here are some things that we can throw away, and here's how we can bridge the two to really, really like, you know, optimize.
No, definitely. And this is what I was saying, like, you know, every countryman can bring his contribution, you know, and everybody is welcome to bring his contribution. Be careful, you know, again, do not go as a savior, as Mr. Know-it-all, you know, because a lot of people make the mistake. It's not because something work in the Western world that you work back home. You know, it's not because you work in country A that you work in country B. You know, so you need to be careful. You need to be acquainted to the climate, to the people, to the way stuff works back home, because you'll be so frustrated. I know so many people that try to do business back home and say, oh my God, nobody's, you know, coming on time. The people are not doing this, you know, the administration. I'm like, yo, this is the way it works here. They're not gonna change for you. Who are you? You know, it's not because you were in America. You was like, sometimes I get in plane and I go back home in or any other African countries, and you will see a guy with like, first of all, people that travel like long haul flight with suits, you are crazy. You know, I don't know who you're trying to impress in the plane. Like, wear sweatpants, right? Anyway, so you see like the guy, like I was going to Senegal. This guy, he was like, you know, you have to have like a shot in the polio shot, the yellow fever, right? And he was saying, but you know, like I just came from Italy, you know. And the guy was like, but I don't care where you are coming from. This is the rule here. You need to have the yellow fever. So now go see the medical team and get a shot, or you're going back home. But no, you know, I'm from Italy. I live there. You know, no, you guys are. So this is the kind of mentality. Because a lot of people think because we are living in the West that we are better than the people that are there. We look down
crazy.
upon, you know, we look down on them, you know, and this is a big mistake, you know, because I know a lot of people, you know, and I know a lot of people that went to university here that are dumbass, you know.
That's for sure.
Exactly, you know. So
Yeah.
your
Always
degree
be
do not
smart.
mean anything if you cannot really apply it.
I said that.
And
Yeah.
so
Yeah, no, I agree, you know, because I thought, to me, it was always cool, well, at least my group of friends, it was always cool to say, we from Africa.
yeah,
Like sometimes we play bare feet, sometimes we climb trees to grab a mango and eat. Like, you know, those are facts. And then
Yes.
and then you can go in your house and have a big TV and AC. We have it all. So I thought it was cool to, like, you know, talk about it, because everything you want, everything you need is there. Like, I'm not gonna say like we are we like a first world country. We understand our struggle, but we also understand the beauty and the natural resources that we possess is one thing, right? Everybody living off the back of Africa. I get it, right? But you know, you gotta embrace where you come from. That's what makes
that's
who you gonna become
are.
or who you are, right?
Yeah.
And that's it. And pretty much that's all I gotta say, bro. If you're African, just embrace it. You don't have to be shy.
Yeah,
You
bro.
know?
Nice.
So we're gonna kind of wrap it up. To kind of wrap it up, right? So what is one unveil, right, advice you can give to people out there? Like, was somebody that's pursuing their dream, or somebody that want to work overseas, or somebody that want to travel multiple countries, or somebody that's African and trying to find their way back and help and become a plus, not a minus to the country. What would you say?
I would just say, first of all, you know, your network, you know, develop your network, be a hard worker, you know, and it's really easy to say, you know, I'm a hard worker, but are you really?
Yeah.
Are you ready to take because everybody wants, you know, the sweetness, but the hard work, people don't want to do it. You know, don't do it for clicks, don't do it for IG likes, and like, if this is really your goal, and I'm talking about like going back, doing something, or like working overseas, or even just getting a job and leveling up your life. Are you ready to make the sacrifice? You know, do it. And if you're really be serious about it, and your group of friends need to be good. This is what I was telling my friends. Is either you leveling me up, you know, we are helping each other like go up, or you're not my friend. You know, my loyalty lie with myself first. You know, and it's, you know, people will say you mean that, but it's true. I like myself too much, and I cannot.
And with your wife.
Yeah, of course, my baby. You know, I cannot allow you, you know, to fuck up my plan.
Yeah. So I'm glad you said that, right? Because somebody can look at you like he's a narcissist, right? And then we have something called positive selfishness that me and her really talk about, right? And put it out there. So he's not being a narcissist, right? So positive selfishness is pretty much like loving yourself, but also understanding that people around you also can depend on you, right? If you put yourself in the right position. She always say this: you got to fill your own cup first before you can help anybody else. So pretty much, I'll just kind of put it out there. That's what he mean. He's not being a narcissist. So go ahead and just finish.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, me, I don't care about what people think anyway. So you don't need to clarify that. But as even like another example, like in the plane, if there's a crash, they tell you to put your
I said
vest
that
first before you even help your kids and stuff. Because if you're not good first, you cannot help nobody. You're no good.
You cannot.
Right? Then this is what I'm saying. Your network is your net worth. And it's really important. Your friends needs to be on the same page. I'm not telling you cut off people and stuff, but bro, be focused. Be really focused on what you want to accomplish. Because being immigrants, bro, we have to work hard. Being kids of immigrants, right? You have to work twice as much. I remember when I was going to my interview, we went to the assessment center. I was the only black kid that was not in like one of the top 10 university.
That's dope.
You know what I'm saying? Then I called my dad and I was like, wow, I don't think I'm gonna get this job. And he was like, boy, you better go and get this job. And I got the job. You know? So this is what I'm saying, like, work hard. Like, you know,
I know.
you've been through all. Like all my jobs, I used to work at hotel, like midnight shifts, but I had a vision. Like Mo said, and I believe in God, I believe in Allah, and to me, like everything is written. Only duas can change the course of your life, and I would work very hard and leave it up to God. This was always my thing. So I always had a plan on what I wanted to do, and still now, and little by little, I'm able to accomplish it. Yeah. But I could never do that without the set of cousin, friends, and my family. So you need to be in a tight community and people that
elevate you and support you.
Exactly.
I agree. Friends with
That's
goals.
wonderful.
Friends that come prepared with a dream and a vision for themselves, right?
Yep.
And that's pretty much he's talking about. I agree. That's something I also have to learn. But yeah, that was well said. He said what he said, and if you got a problem with him, take it up with him, not us. This is Unveiled Mindset.
Unveiled Mindset.
Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share.
See you next time.
We out.
Bye.
So much evil in this world, I sit back like, why bother? But get a different view every time that I call daughter. It's like Numi got the Uzi, man, she always speaking facts. She be dropping bombs, make all of them double back. And then the crime raises. It's something that ain't never gonna get that. But it's cool, let's sit back and chit chat. Unveiled mindset.